Hello. Welcome back with Greg Gamer and myself. We are still Star Trek Lord X, Season 4, Episode 5 review, Empathological Fallacies. That's a tongue twister, that one.
Say that 5 times fast.
Nope, I
No.
don't think I will. I don't think I want to. There you go, Gray.
Oh, I forgot the mug today.
Oh, he's sacked! Every time he gets on at me,
I,
he forgets
I
it.
have iced tea here for ticket.
He always has a go at me. Where's the bloody mug?
Got me today.
Apologies, we're a bit later than usual, guys. It's anywhere between Thursday and Saturday, and I apologise in advance if there's the odd cough from me, just recovering from a cold, and I don't like coughing when I'm doing a podcast, so I will try and minimise that. But yeah, this episode was a marked improvement in what we've seen previously, because it's been very hit or miss this season so far, Gray, hasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
It really has been. But this is definitely an improvement. So just quickly, the T's and C's out the way. We are available on audio podcast platforms as well as YouTube, of course, and you find us on Twitter at The Trekway. We will be back sometime next month, Gray, for GGR. We don't have any dates yet.
Sometime next month. Probably more like the middle of the month. We're going to give Hans some time.
Yeah. So it's a combination of us all going through personal stuff in our lives, but slowly but surely we're getting there, Gray, so we'll be in more of a regular kind of routine-ish for that one. But life comes first, doesn't it?
And the writer's strike is over.
Yeah, so we'll have a lot more to talk about. But that will impact Trek as well, of course, because I think Paramount knew ahead of time. Like, I know they can be all money-grabbing sometimes, but they're not stupid people. They knew when this stuff was going on, right, we're broke and we've got to spread this out, so they've moved Discovery to January or February. So once this season's finished of Lord Dex, we're going to have a bit of time to kill. So if you've got ideas for specials, guys, that you want in Trek, put it below. We'll try and do it. But yeah, so
because I'm hearing Discovery might not be till February.
Yeah, January or February. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they delayed it. It was supposed to be shown by now, but they're spreading things out. But yeah, so we do have another half of this season to go. So yeah, GGR, we do a lot of entertainment stuff with Gray, myself, Hans and Ross. It does sometimes include Star Trek, but not as much because we have this show. And anything kind of cool in the entertainment world, we'll discuss that as well. He can be found at Gray's Green Room and all the usual YouTube and audio podcast platforms, and on the Twitters as well at Gray's Green Room. And last but not least, if you love gaming, because a lot of you guys out there will like gaming, myself and Gray and a couple of other friends join our colleague Nick, where we do a gaming podcast at Extreme PC UK. There's a Discord there for it. Come and say hello to us, because we not only have an entertainment channel for the GGR stuff, but we also have a Trekway channel as well for all Star Trek goodness. So we can come in there and just chat, and you've got access to all the gaming stuff. Nick does a gaming podcast every Tuesday on the old Twitch. So yeah, I've got that out the way. Thank you for your patience, guys. Yeah, we'll kick off. Gray was giving me little hints about how good this episode was before, and I thought the one-liners were good, Gray, but I thought there was maybe going to be a little bit more in there. Maybe I'm setting my stall a bit too high, but
I mean, if there was more, we could have rated it maybe a little higher. But considering they haven't done good one-liners in a couple episodes,
you will take it.
Needed this.
Yeah,
you definitely could see the writing was a step up. This time they weren't, as we were saying, they're missed opportunities. There wasn't really any missed opportunities in this episode. They picked up on a lot of stuff.
A question for you: this series, right, Lord Dex? Do you watch it and try and forget about the rest of the Star Trek universe when you're doing it? Because I know how it triggers some people's, it doesn't fit in Star Trek because it's almost like really high-level adult comedy. Sometimes it isn't really very Star Trek-esque.
I mean, I've kind of grown to understand that it's a Star Trek parody, which is what it kind of really is. Star Trek comedy, Star Trek parody. I don't really call it canon per se, although they do try to stick to canon, but they goof off on canon too. So it
is canon. I don't think they've broken it, to be fair.
They've
skirted along it, but I mean, I don't mind it so much because of the crossover with Strange New Worlds. It showed that it could work. It was still funny, but they dialed it back a bit. They had to. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
It was really good and it worked, but I wouldn't do it again.
Oh no, please don't ruin it. You pulled it off really, really well.
Yeah, you
Do
pulled
not
off
ruin it.
ones. That's enough now.
Yeah, please. So yeah,
I don't want
sorry,
to see a habit of this.
we're digressing already, but otherwise it'd be like 20-minute episode reviews.
Although, if Prodigy ever gets back on the air, you could cross over Prodigy with Lower Decks.
Oh, those poor kids would be scarred for life, mate. But yeah, it's a good
Could be
show.
interesting.
I definitely prefer Prodigy. I do love Lower Decks, but Prodigy is definitely most
Yeah.
Star Trek-esque. This episode is very Tevin centric.
Yeah.
She has the Vulcan, which we learn a lot more about her in this episode because she's been in this season, but until this season we kind of never saw or heard of her, and it's explained why.
Right.
But it's definitely Tevin centric. This episode has a bunch of drunk Betazoids in it, which is bloody hilarious. It's like a hen party, as we call it over here, or a bachelorette party in the States. They're all dressed in kind of nice dresses and outfits, and they're drinking yard full bloody drinks of booze. So much
But
for
they're
Synthahol in the
these are all
future.
old. These are all older ladies, though. Older Betazed ladies.
So
They're not, I'm just saying. Just the
they
difference between being really young.
they are of a
In fact,
certain age.
I should have looked up who the actresses were that played the three parts, but one of them I definitely know. I recognize her voice right away. She's definitely a veteran and has been in a bunch of different TV shows. In fact, actually, she plays the college dean of the school in the show Young Sheldon.
Oh.
And I forgot her name, but she is playing one of the Betazoids. So
Never seen it, but I know of the show Young Sheldon. Yeah. No, just in the future, in this time frame of Star Trek, people are not really drinking booze as much, you know. So, but then they are Betazoids, so who knows? That's not a nitpick; it's just something I noticed. So yeah, Tevin seems pretty pissed off. As pissed off as you can be for a Vulcan. It's not supposed to show emotions. But you can sometimes tell that they're pissed off without being pissed off. It's weird. They try so hard to hide their emotions, and sometimes you can just read them. She's not happy.
She's probably more irritated than anger because she's always commenting about this, commenting about that.
Yeah, the irritation gets worse. That's fair. She's not impressed with these drunk Betazoids that are being ferried to Betazed. Captain Freeman has been ordered or asked to take them to their home planet. Or in fact, no, was it Ryza or Betazed they went to? It was Betazed, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Betazed. Yeah. They are being really flirty because they're a bit drunk. They are flirting with Ransom. That was bloody hilarious.
Yeah, it was funny.
Commander Ransom. They just turn around and look at him. They're like, "Oh yeah, we can like what we see here." And the big yard-long drink, they kind of stick it in between his butt cheeks, man. The crack in his butt cheeks, and he's like, "Oh, hello."
And then he starts going, "Yes, I'm available. I can do anything." And then she goes, "Nah, I like hard to get." He's going, and he's going, "I could be hard to get and aloof."
He was gutted. He thought he was in. He thought he pulled Gray. He was about to get his coat, and right in front of the captain. But then, because he's easy to get, they then changed their attention to the captain, and she's like, yeah, I'm married. I'm okay. It's fine. I'm like, whoa. Yeah. They're just.
And then one of them said, after she said I'm married, he says, "Yeah, but is he on the ship?" And she goes,
Oh, that was, it's amusing. I can already tell that humour was back that kept me interested before, and I'm glad maybe the writers were just going through a moment. The Betazoids then enter sickbay. They're getting a tour from the captain. And there was I liked a little quip that Tiana makes about her species. I'll let you tell it, Gray, because you like Tiana. I don't want to steal your thunder, mate.
Well, she was saying that thousands of years ago, like thousands and thousands of years ago, her species used to hunt down Betazoids and eat them. and then they said, of course, they've all evolved and they don't do that anymore. But so Tiana says, but we do have synthetic Betazoids now. Synthetic Betazoid meat.
As she's repairing a scratch on one of the patients there. Was it that scene she's repairing the scratch there, and she's talking about synthetic Betazoids, and she actually kind of almost fries him there with a little dermal regenerator thing. Like, oh, sorry, I wasn't concentrating. I was hungry at the time.
I was too busy talking. Yeah.
So that was. She has better lines coming up there, but that was a funny line, and it's good to see Dr. Cat back. Yes.
Oh yeah. Last week she had some great lines. This week she has some great lines.
Oh, the best.
All
best
necessary.
Tavin still continued to get a bit pissed off at this stage, or irritated, and she's in sickbay with the captain. The Betazed ladies were then going to go upstairs or wherever it is, the crew quarters, and get some drinks. But meanwhile, Tavin had been asked to actually go and get refills for the ladies. She came back with the refill. She wasn't happy. She was like a waitress. She wasn't impressed. She comes back with these drinks all filled up again. And Freeman's like, no, we're going to the officer's bar for some drinks. It's all good. But then Tiana goes, that's fine. I'll take one, goes and grabs it. And then next the whole bloody drink in one go.
She just guzzles it all down.
And then what did she say, Gray?
And then she says it's time for surgery.
But
the only thing that would have made that maybe slightly funnier if she had downed like two of them instead of just one, and then said time for surgery.
Because she takes the drink, says time for surgery, then exit. And then you can just, I think it's because it was so strong, she can just hear her in the background going, beep, F-U-C-K, just, Jesus Christ, what was in that? That was good. See, that's already made it a 7 out of 10, that episode, just for those nice lines. Again, because it's Tavin-centric, it seems Tavin is... Now, this was interesting because we didn't have much of Tavin's background in this, and now we do. She's on the Cerritos, Grey, because of punishment. Now, we've seen this before. Even you've seen this before because you watched some of Star Trek Enterprise. Remember, T'Pol on that, she was sent there as punishment and also to kind of keep an eye on mankind as they were going out to the far reaches of the galaxy for the first time.
Sure.
And she hated it, but she grew to love it over time. She got to like her crew and whatnot. It's kind of the same here with Tavin.
She liked her crew, all right. Well, one or two of them she liked a little more than...
Well, or T'Pol or Tavin? T'Pol.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. T'Pol. No, she had a relationship kind of briefly with Tucker. Because every time they went into that... when they come back, transporters these days have filters built in for anything that could interfere, like any germs or whatever from the planet that we're in, and it's just taken straight out. But they don't have that because it's Enterprise. They're building up in technology, so they go into a decontamination chamber thing, but they have to strip down to their underwear and literally lather like this like gel stuff all over each one another, which does the same job. I liked it. It's kind of cool. But you just see T'Pol, Jolene Blaylock. Oh my God, she was a very attractive lady, that's all I'll say. And you just see her just in her underwear, and you're like, I like Star Trek Enterprise. It's pretty good. This is what you're missing out on, Gray.
I've seen a couple of those.
Yeah. So, she is there as punishment for, and we find out kind of later on why she's there as punishment. She's trying to send a personal log to, I don't know if it's a superior or someone back in Vulcan.
I think she said it was I thought she said it was the performer captain, the one that actually sent her there.
Yeah,
I believe so. I think it was. Pretty sure.
Yeah, that would make sense. But the signal is jammed, and she tries a second, third time. No joy. And as soon as it said jam, Gray, I was like, I'm blaming the Betazoids. I think they've taken over everyone's emotions, indirectly or accidentally. And nothing can get out. No signal at all can get out in the slightest, which pisses her off, and she's a bit irritated about that.
Well, wait, to back up a second though, she didn't really know why, but then Mariner poked
No,
in
she didn't.
her head, and Mariner tells her, she says, "Well, we're on the whatever lockdown. You can't because of the Betazoids. We can't communicate. That's the way it has to be." Blah blah. But then then when she said Zoids, I just started cracking up because that was the first time I'd heard that. She just goes like, "Oh yeah, the Zoids are on board. We can't do it." And I'm going Zoids. Who came up with that one?
Gray stole my thunder because literally the sentence after I'm talking about the Zoid party and he's put that there.
Well,
But it's context.
from that point on, it was funny because they
Yeah.
kept on using it. They would say Zoids or Zoid, and I'm like, man.
Yeah, it was pretty. This is the kind of one-liners and the little quips and quotes that I actually like from Lord Dixon. You get it here for sure. Yeah, she mentions that the Zoids. She made the assumption that because they're on board, they've been known to affect people's emotions, accidentally
Right.
or otherwise. So it's a logical thing to think it's their fault by default. So yeah, there is a big party because the Zoids are in the officers' bar. Big party. And everyone's going to join, of course. But Boimler won't join because he's trying to learn everyone's name. Because he's Lieutenant Junior grade, he feels he has to know everyone's name, which is typical Boimler. He doesn't. It's silly. He doesn't have to. But he's like, no, I'm going to learn every single name. And Rutherford's trying to convince him, come on, man, let's go. But he's like, nah, it'll be more of a reward if I learn everyone's name and then I can go to the bloody party. So he's like, right, fine, you do that, I will go to the party. On the way out, though, this is what piques our attention because Rutherford calls Commander Shax, and he says, we have someone for the program. And I'm like, ooh.
I heard that too. I'm going like, program? What program? Like, something weird's gonna go down or something.
Yeah, something weird always goes down. It's bloody Lord X. So yeah, I found that pretty amusing. At the party, things are getting. I don't know if I'm
out of hand.
Well, even at this stage, Gray, I'm not necessarily thinking it's because it gets even worse later on in the episode than the next scene. But at the party, we see some things that are, excuse me, that are a little bit crazy. The counselor, the bird, I don't recall the character's name. He's in it so little. I never even bothered checking, to be honest. Yeah, he's fuming. He's angry because the soup is coming out incorrectly. He asks for it to be regurgitated soup, and he wants it to taste like it comes from his mother's mouth. And I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
What?
That's what the birds do. So he's like regressing to when he was a baby bird or something, I'm sitting there going, bleh. Like,
that was hilarious, man. It was a nice little. And I like the counselor. You just hardly ever see him. More chaos ensues. Rutherford's wasted. He doesn't tend to get wasted very much in this series, but he's pretty wasted. Mariner is properly on the old bleep swearing machine. Like every other word she's saying is beep 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 beep. I mean, she's going nuts. She's really swearing. I found that hilarious. Are you saying she sounded a bit salty, Gray? Did you think so?
I thought she was, in that instance, she was more salty than Dr. Cat, Tiana. So you know how bad that is.
What was pissing her off? Do you remember what was pissing her off?
The thing was, everybody was so drunk, they all just all their inhibitions were dropping, and so they were all acting goofy about everything. So she was getting mad about all kinds of stuff. It didn't matter what it was. She'd have some reason to get mad and just kind of.
See, she was pissed off because everyone else was getting worse, but she was getting worse just in a different kind of way because it affects everyone differently, doesn't it? So, yeah, people are all too happy. Things are getting out of hand. They're getting a bit nuts, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm thinking what everyone else is probably thinking. I'm blaming the Zoids. They do look a bit shifty, to be fair. That's safe to say. One of the ensigns is going to drop them out of warp early so they can party some more. And she's about to go running back up to the bridge to just... You would think in this modern day and age you could find another way to do that. But no. Like, she's got to run up to the bridge. The captain's like, no, Captain Freeman, no. Behave yourself. You won't do such a thing. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me, Gray. You want to party for a bit longer? Just drop out of water for a while? Well, why not?
That's right.
You can replicate.
Just take a Just taking an orbit around an asteroid for a while or something.
Do what they done in Deep Space Nine episode where they just circle around the pylons several times and all.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to watch that episode again. It's brilliant. But yeah, the captain's here at this time as well now. And slowly but surely, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Tevin steps in and gives the classic Vulcan nerve pinch to this ensign to stop her doing that. Because she's the only one at this stage that's compos mentis. And then everyone starts booing Freeman. She's standing up on the table like, you don't boo your captain, man. What are you doing? Boo, you suck.
She gets up there and goes like, I want everybody to stop doing this. I want the Betazoids to see how wonderful we are. And she starts crying about it, like,
They're slowly but surely looking worse as well, actually, to be fair. We get some classic next. We get some classic Baby Bear and Shaq's time. Remember, that's what... it's Shaq's Trevor, not Shaz. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I should have corrected that one. Sorry.
What have you done? I already fixed it.
I did it at the same time you did.
Gray proofreads my notes because I'm too lazy to do it myself. Takes a while to get the notes ready. Too. But yeah, that's what Shax calls Boimler, doesn't he, Baby Bear? Because he kind of is a little bit. Bear. And they go to start the program, and Boimler and Shax walk in, and there's a few of the crew doing poetry. They call it slam poetry. And it's poetry about Worf.
Klingon poetry, right? And they're just sitting there talking about Worf, and they go, Worf, son of Moog, house of this. I'm like, oh my god, let's go on and on.
Have you thought, Gray, right? See the guy, I can't remember his name or the species, the guy that almost talks a bit like Yoda back to front.
Yeah,
his eyes so brightly kind of thing. And he talks in poetry all the time, so this is just him talking normally, if you think about it.
Yeah, really.
So it was interesting. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
It basically... At this stage, things are kind of adding up nicely. It sounds at this stage like the Zoids are going through... I'm calling it a midlife crisis before they say it in my head, you know? Midlife crisis, and their emotions are affecting everyone. So they're going to have to go to sick bay and get checked out. That makes sense to me at this stage. Sometimes you just read ahead and you have a chuckle.
Yeah.
You say it great. You're like your Dr. Cat. It was just absolutely hilarious, this bit with the tail chasing.
So they have to go down to the sick bay, of course. But when they get there, they see Tiana chasing her tail, just like a cat or a dog would. She's spinning around
really
in circles,
fast,
chasing her tail. I'm like, oh my god, it was great. It was classic.
Okay, she's lost it as well, though, hasn't she? They've all lost it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, imagine. I mean, she's sort of regressing back, so she's kind of like, oh, I want to eat the Betazoids or something. But it was weird. But the other thing that was funny when you had mentioned midlife crisis, I thought for sure that's what that was too, because it made sense.
It's happened before in Trek, Gray, where a Betazoid's emotions later in life have got a bit nuts. I'm sure it was on Next Gen.
Yeah, I believe so, or even Deep Space Nine. I think when Loax and came there, Troy, if I remember correctly. So that made a lot of sense. So I was really falling into that line, and then like we had both saw, they started doing their telepathy between each other, and they're on to us. I figured, okay, see, so now we know it must be the midlife crisis, but
yeah, turns out not quite the same. I think Dr. Tiana was. Tell me if I'm wrong, she was in the party with everyone. I think she was chasing her tail up there, but they had to go to sick bay to speak to someone else. So they do go to sick bay, the Zoids, they're kind of told to go there. And I don't actually think it's a midlife crisis, as Gray mentioned a moment ago, because they say they're on to us, so I thought something different, Gray. If it's a midlife crisis, you're not aware of it. They knew, because they're talking to each other on to us. I was like, here we go. It's changed, and I like a curveball especially when I have no clue it's coming.
Sure.
And they are kind of being forced to go to sick bay, but Freeman's kind of got the old phaser on him. You shall come with us. Captain Freeman won't let the Betazoids leave sickbay. And they
she's getting mad.
She was. I mean, she's a bit like Mariner. Like, obviously, they're the mother and daughter, so they were not partying like everyone else. They were just getting angrier and more frustrated. And she won't let them leave sickbay because she's like, okay, it's not midlife crisis, we'll scan for this, but something else was going on. Ever since you guys have come on board, things have started acting up, and the Betazoids are like, listen, it's not us. And it goes back and forth a couple of times, and then you can just hear them say, right, okay, it's time to drop their cover. And then it switches back to Boimler and Shax. You're like, I hate it sometimes when they do that because it's like a mini cliffhanger within an episode until later on. Yeah. But it is what it is. Back with Boimler and Shax. This was weird. I didn't like the whole Boimler Shax thing as much, but they're playing random games, and another one is now charades. Which,
Star Trek charades.
Just like, what? Okay.
But at first I was thinking like, well, I don't know if I like this. But then when I saw him act out a particular charade, then I cracked up because he started acting out, going like there's like a bucket or whatever right near him, and he's making like he's diving into the bucket, and I'm going like, oh my god, this is Odo.
Did you get it before they said that, Gray?
Oh yeah, I knew it. As soon as he started doing the diving in the bucket thing, I'm going like, I says, oh, it's got to be Odo, and they go like, and then you see Boims go, or whatever, go, yeah, it's Odo, Deep Space Nine. I get it. That was pretty funny.
So the random games do continue on. Boims has a choice between Shax opens a box. He has a choice between two games, an Enterprise puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle of Enterprise.
Yep.
Or some tarot cards. And he says, is that even a choice? So inadvertently choosing both. And Gray says they trick him into it. But I think he was happy. He's like, is that even a choice? You can't pick between them. It's both, clearly. They're both pretty sad and cheesy. So that's probably why Boimler liked both of them, to be fair.
Well, the reason I think they tricked him is he didn't really say either one. He was just kind of like, and then all of a sudden, Shax just goes, he's doing both! And they all go like, oh, yeah.
He didn't seem too sad about it. That's the humorous thing about it, Gray.
Yeah.
Because anyone else would be like, no, I've got to do both. One's bad enough, but two.
But Boimler is consistently getting like a little bit kind of mad because he keeps going from one game to another, and he's going like, what's going on?
Well, we're thinking that as well, so
yeah,
I'm not surprised. It turns out
these are all. By the way, unless we didn't say it, these are all security guys because Shax leads the security team.
That's true.
He's the head of security, so you see all security guys doing this. So that's the last thing you think they're gonna do.
They're hanging out. That's what he thinks they do. We get to that later on as well, of course. We go back to the Zoids in sick bay. They're about to kick off. They are part of BIA.
This is great.
BIA. This is Betazoid intelligence. I'm like, what? Since when did they have? Why did they need intelligence? To just mind read someone and it's over.
Not the CIA, the BIA.
What's the point in intelligence, Gray? They just mind read someone. Game over.
I don't know.
It's hilarious. I'm like, they have intelligence. What? So what does the A stand for then?
Betazoid Intelligence Agency.
They don't say that, but we'll assume that.
They don't, but yeah.
So yeah, that was amusing. It's now in canon that Betazoid has an intelligence department.
Oh boy,
that's hilarious. Didn't know they had any. They do now. Gray says yes, they do.
They're not just counselors anymore.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They strip off half their gear, their clothing,
right?
And they're wearing. I wouldn't say it is skimpy looking, but it's more practical skimpy looking. Like not dresses. They could kick about. They do like shorts and stuff like that. So, I don't know what that was.
They're fighting digs or whatever.
Yeah, they're fighting gear. And there's now a fight on the bridge because at this stage they've managed to get themselves back to the bridge between the crew and the BIA. It just sounds weird every time I say the BIA.
I know.
Man. Don't be confused with the CIA. They're a lot shitter than the CIA.
It could have been worse. It could have been the ZIA, Zoids Intelligence.
Yes. I like it. Well done. See, they should just take us on as writers, man.
That's right, man.
So they literally commandeer the bridge a little bit after winning the fight. I knew they would do. They're going to go home. They want to set course for home, but they want the most direct route there, which happens to go through the neutral zone. I thought, oh God, here we go.
Where all friendly Romulans hang out.
And I'm thinking at this stage now, maybe we'll see that random ship. But I didn't note that down at the time, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, we'll come to the random ship, don't worry. And you just see Freeman shit it. Oh no, don't go through it. Come on, man. We could talk. Don't take World War IV or start or something, you know. So, back at the party, this is when it's went up to a whole new level.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's naked. Oh,
They're
down
doing
to
a
their
human
underwear.
pyramid.
Yeah,
doing a human pyramid.
Yeah, like Tendy and Rutherford and all that. They're all in their skants, you know, and they're all like standing top each other. And oh my God. And they're playing silly games. You're just, how does it get much worse than this? It can't, to be fair. And okay, great. Dr. Cat's up next, is she not? What happens with Dr. Cat next? This was bloody hilarious.
Well, the three of them were tied up. Mariner, I believe the captain, and Tiana. And Tiana eventually, Dr. Cat shreds her ropes or whatever that were tied around or whatever it was. And then she frees the other two. And then she gets this great one-liner that I was just on the floor. She goes, "Time to shred those party girls into brisket." I'm like, and I can't imitate her, but it was hilarious. She's just going like, "I want to rip them all up into brisket and eat them."
What Mariner said was even funnier, was it not?
Yep. As soon as she freaks out, Tiana, then Mariner goes like, "She took an oath not to consume patients." And I'm going like, "Why? Have you seen it?"
I'm like, we have to save her. She's not herself. She took an oath not to eat any patients. I'm like, that's hilarious. You could just almost imagine a special version of the Federation doctor oath that they take. A special version of the oath. But just
she
for
has
her.
her hand up like this and go like, "I will not eat my patients."
like another version just for her, because like a bit like Saru from Discovery, who when he evolved, if they didn't, they were eaten up all the time. His species were always, they were the prey, but when after a certain length of time, the prey weren't preyed upon anymore, and he started evolving and he didn't know what was going on. It's because they get to the apex level. It's almost the same here. Like, I make an oath, I will join Starfleet, I will not eat anyone because it's been known to happen, and I hold my hand up to the Federation.
They're really lax on their rules for doctors, aren't they?
It's probably one of the best lines in the episode for me anyway. But yeah, to shred those party girls into brisket. Turns out all the cause of the madness wasn't actually the Zoids, Gray. I didn't see that coming immediately. Did you see it coming?
No, I didn't either. Nah.
It was Tevin.
Yep.
Well, what? She looked and acted and sounded like a normal Vulcan. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Even though there's some precedent for it in canon, I thought they kind of overdid this part. That was the only part of the episode
really
that I didn't like. Yeah, because they were for her to be able to do this or broadcast her emotions. Basically, even she said somewhere in the episode that you have to be in a fair proximity of her.
Yeah, that's true.
That makes no sense because the people were going crazy in the party and they were far away from Tevin at this point.
Yeah.
So why didn't they just go back to normal?
And the thing is as well, Greg, you're right. Betazoids are telepaths. Vulcans are not. They can mind read, but they can't use telepathy over a distance. They have to be touching each other. So that's why we all bought the Betazoid thing. That they collectively as a three would have the power to do that. And the Cerritos is not a massive starship, so it's possible. But then for Tevin to do it, I didn't see that coming. I thought that didn't make a lot of sense.
I thought that as far as what she did or what she had or how it was caused by her, all right, I went along with that one. But what I didn't go along with, like I mentioned to you, is how broad that was. I mean, how can all these people be affected that are far away from her when she just got done saying, if you're in proximity of me, this is what happens to you. Okay, that means that everybody else that was all in the other parts of the ship should be perfectly fine.
Well, I think they were still affected, but not as bad. I think they mentioned at one point something about distance and whatnot, and I think if you are further away, maybe not as bad. But we're nitpicking.
I thought that was a bit weak, though. But it was all right. It was all right.
It wasn't an ideal bit. It wasn't awful. It just wasn't. That makes sense in the grand scheme of things. So she has some kind of disease, apparently. Mariner says she's having a quarter-life crisis because of her age. She's like 60 or something, and she's like, damn, you look good for that age, girl. Quarter-life crisis, that's all it is, don't worry. That's amusing, that.
Mariner looked really, really surprised when she said, I think she said she was 62, and Mariner just goes, okay.
Damn, girl, yeah. Mariner is good in this. Mariner had a decent episode, though. She was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The captain is pretty smart, though. Captain Freeman on the bridge is pretty smart. She uses the classic please don't read my mind trick. Please don't do it. She's looking shifty on purpose, to which the Zoids, they take her bait, they read her minds, and they pick up on a comment before when she was getting chatted up with the Zoids with Ransom as well. And one of the Zoids said something, it's a flyaway comment about one of her friends. I can't remember what it was. It was something silly that a woman would maybe say to another woman in a kind of cat fight or something like that. And because they can all hear each other, she went, what? I'm a what now? And they start bickering and fighting between themselves, which is pretty amusing. That gives Freeman the perfect opportunity to sneak up to a console and hit red alert, the red alert button. And that finally alerts Shax and his team. And finally they kick into action.
Yeah, automatic, just like, boom.
This is it, boom, just like a fireman, right? Running down, going down the pole onto the engine, and away they go. And Boymes is like, oh, we're some action now, and oh, well, that's a lot of guns. They're big guns. You're grabbing. They're grabbing
rifles, phasers, everything.
Man, what?
He's like, what's going on?
I don't know if
he couldn't believe his eyes.
Did he grab a phaser? I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
He follows because part of it, but I don't think he does anything. So yeah, that was pretty amusing. Tvin and Mariner make a run for it as the crew are on tour. They still haven't recovered from this. They're still pissed off at their captain. Tvin, though, thankfully calms her down and confesses that she's not been feeling the best. Tiana, you see, what was that about? Tiana was randomly clawing underneath one of the doors at one point. You just see her in the corridor, like a cat does to get under something. She's absolutely
like a scratching pose for a
cat.
But
like
she's just like, Rah.
She's trying to, I don't know who was behind that door, but she was
Betazoid.
really. And you see Shax just be like, calm down, honey, because she then makes a run for the guys, like Shax and Boymes and all that. And then Shax just grabs her in mid-leap, like, come on, honey, calm down.
She's holding her up by the throat like this, like, you'll be all right. And she's...
Because she grabbed him by the neck. You grab cats by the neck, don't you? So that's what he done. But he's a beast. She can shred Betazoids, but she can't shred Shax. Who... He's a Bajoran, not a Betazoid. I was getting myself mixed up
that's
there.
Right. Bajoran.
So yeah, that's amusing. She's going proper nuts, Tiana, but she's calmed down by her partner. They both agree. They both agree that Tvin is. She's got doubts when she finds out that she's got this problem and she's affecting everyone. She's got doubts about herself. She confesses to basically what happened. She was kicked out of. She had to leave her old Vulcan ship before. I can't remember what the exact reason for that was. She saved someone's life, didn't she? Which was not the logical thing to do.
Right.
She
went by her gut feeling instead of, lacking emotion type feeling or logical. Even though it was the right thing to do. And she was confessing this to Mariner. But the funny thing was that she said that on the ship she was on, she was demoted or not demoted, but she was reprimanded in a lot of the same ways Mariner is on the Cerritos. I thought that was kind of funny.
She's a Vulcan version of her.
Yeah, because they mentioned like several things, and I'm going like, this is what happens to Mariner. She gets in the same trouble. So Tvin was getting in this kind of trouble, although in a logical way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they didn't want her anymore because they didn't feel she was logical enough, and so they booted her off, and she ends up on the Cerritos.
They are very alike in different ways. It's weird. Those two got on pretty well, and they also piss each other off as well. It's pretty hilarious. No, that's a good point, Gray. She's been a good friend, Mariner, and trying to convince her, like, you're a good person, and we'll get this sorted. And Tevin doesn't think she's very Vulcan, and like Mariner's like, what? You're as Vulcan as a motherfracker. Like, fill in the blanks here, you know. That was hilarious. I love that. And I'm thinking at this stage, great, her ex-captain, Tevin's ex-captain, is a proper arsehole. Don't like this guy.
Yeah.
Everything is now...
Oh, wait, but I thought the better line when the Vulcan is a motherfracker was that after Mariner had said it, all right, and Tevin starts thinking about everything that they're telling her.
She repeats it,
and she starts feeling better about what she did, and a little more confident in herself. And then she goes up and so she says, so logically, I'm as Vulcan as a motherfracker. She said,
logically, yeah, she swore.
That was great. So, yeah, exactly. But she does it with that straight deadpan Vulcan.
Have you ever heard Spock swear? I've never heard him swear. That was
yes, he did. He did once.
Did he?
He didn't say motherfractor, but remember in Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan, he said, "If I were human, I would say go to hell."
Go to hell, yeah. What?
That was one of the
Hell is not a swear word. Behave yourself.
That's it for a Vulcan. It is.
Right, true. That's a good point.
But he prefaced it though. He goes, "If I were a human, I believe I would say go to hell."
yes, mate. That is a classic line. To be fair, I do like that.
If I were, and he says it again at the end. He goes, "If I were human."
Rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy. You're a legend, sir. So yeah, everything starts calming down now, slowly but surely. But it's like a hangover now, isn't it? You see Ransom lying naked in the corner, crying.
He's holding on to a blanket like it's his baby blanket. He's got.
That was hilarious. Like, he wasn't in it much, but see when he was, just those lines. I know they're not the main characters, so use them sparingly. I understand what you have to, but see when you do use them, don't show them. Don't make them appear for no reason. They have to come away with quality, funny one-liners, and then they go away. That's fine.
Right, like last episode, a lot of the humor seemed to be forced. In this episode, it
non-existent.
You know? Right, and this came out more naturally, like it should for this type of a show.
That's the whole point of good writing. Yeah. So yeah, Shax and his team finally storm the bridge and kick some serious arse. They literally just mop the whole bridge up. And you're a happy man, Gray, because your two favourite characters, Tiana has some brilliant lines in it. Shax has hardly had any, and you're happy with he's back to form. I've
been saying it for the last few episodes. I keep telling our audience and you, I said, what happened to Shax? He doesn't do anything anymore. He's like turned into some kind of pansy or something. He's just not. And then all of a sudden they finally gave him back the way we all knew he was originally, and he got to kick some butt and act like the real Shax that we know.
Yes.
So I was really happy. Now I hope they kind of continue that and don't ignore him again. But I was very happy to see Shax back in form, and of course, Dr. Cat, the way I already love. So you had both of them, in their top form. So it was great. It was really good.
See if you had to pick between Tiana and Shax, who would you pick?
Man, that would be hard, but I would probably have to give the edge. I would give the edge to Tiana, yeah, no doubt.
The actress that plays her is a legend automatically. What a fun job she's got.
Yeah, she has the mannerisms and voice down and everything, and the lines they give her generally are really good. She definitely has, in total, she has all the best one-liners.
She does. 100% she does, and that's the way it should be, because the characters, the main bridge crew who are not supposed to appear often, they have to be because they don't appear as often, Gray. They kind of need those one-liners more so than the lower deckers, because they're not there for long. So you need them to make a big impact, and then they go again. So, good point. Because everything's calming down now, and Tevin's, her emotions are calming down, everyone's starting to settle back down, but they're about to hit the neutral zone. So they have to stop that really quickly as well. They stop the Cerritos just before it hits the neutral zone, and it's some mention here, some kind of handbrake they've got there, Great, almost stops on a bloody dime. Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those like this was like
it's like reverse thrusters. Nope, just stop. But yeah, I'm nitpicking, it was amusing. This was hilarious.
This was great.
Who do we see after Gray, and how did they react?
So the Romulans decloak and you see the ship, which I figured we probably would see, But what came up next, I wasn't expecting at all. And so
Aww.
they show a scene of the Romulans, and all of them on the bridge are going, "Oh," because it was so funny. They wanted to get into a fight, and they saw the Cerritos turn around. They're just like they're so disappointed. And then the commander goes, "Oh, that's okay. Let's head over to base number 654, and we'll lurk over there." like they're ready. It's potluck. They want to get into a war.
It's like permission to lurk, sir. Yeah,
exactly.
that was amusing, and I'm glad we've seen that as well, because each episode we saw a different species with that random ship, which we'll talk about in a moment, and what's happening with them. And something funny goes on. We get it with the Romulans here at this stage now, which is amusing. Yeah. There is a nice little ending between Boims and Shax, because after everything's calmed down, Boims is like, "Listen, I've seen you guys in a different light. I apologise, Commander. I thought you guys just basically sat about scratching your arses when you're not saving the day." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "No, we do everything. We're playing these games because we're looking after you. We're looking after everyone's morale." And I'm thinking, okay, I'm nitpicking at this stage, Graham. Like, no, that's a counsellor's job. You should just be on security, mate. But he's looking after his friends, his colleagues. I found it really, really sweet. And I think Boims has got a newfound respect for Shax and his security team, because he knows they do more than what he first thought. So that was sweet.
Well, if you really think about it, the things they were doing, even though they were humorous, it seemed to me that Shax was basically telling them that they need to keep their minds active when they're not doing security stuff. And the only way to do that is to do stuff like this to keep their minds always thinking
sharp, on the ball.
Sharp, yeah, exactly, which makes total sense.
Yeah,
and they don't have to fight all the time, or even in the holodeck. There's other things you can do.
Yeah, Klingon poetry.
Klingon poetry, whatever it takes.
Slam poetry, they call it. They give Freeman a pad.
The Zoids.
The Zoids. As they're leaving, they made it up, the Zoids, with the captain. Apologies all around. And they give Freeman a data pad on the random ship that's been destroying everything, because we hadn't seen it at the start of the episode, which we saw in every other episode. So I found that interesting. Gray's noting here that, the plot thickens in a new enemy, and it certainly does. I like how they've done this a little bit differently. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll read about this. I've heard about these guys and whatnot." And we were talking about Tevin before. She doesn't want to leave in the end. She, Mariner asks her if she's going to just send a message, and she's like, "Actually, I don't think I'll leave in the end now." And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, great, good, because kind of Tevin's grown on me a little bit. She's a Vulcan version of Mariner, and she fits in really, really well. Are you glad she's staying?
Oh yeah, I am. I liked her from the beginning, so I kind of it's good, because when you get that Vulcan deadpan, type of attitude, it works really well with the humor if it's done right. And she's doing her own humor, but she sounds like Stephen Wright, where you do it a monotone voice, and and it's great. She just says things it's funny, it's Vulcan sarcasm, but it's just that she delivers the lines like. Can
you imagine the actress playing her as well? That would be another field day for her, like trying to keep it deadpan and not laugh yourself. Well done.
Yeah.
So everyone's trying to give her a hug at the end, and she does accept one from Mariner, but she tries to get more. She's like, "No, only one embrace at a time." So there's the deadpan humor we're talking about. Like, one hug's enough. We're pushing the boat out now. No more.
That's right. But then Tindy gets all upset about that. So Tindy goes, "Oh, I missed it.
Come on, man." Yeah. So yeah, it was a lot better. Gray, what did you give this episode a score out of? And
I gave it 8.5. I gave it 8.5 because I really the thing that pushed me beyond 8 was the fact that Tiana, Dr. Cat, was funny as hell as usual, but Shax finally gets back to where he needs to be. Yes. And of course, the comedy was flowing very well. It wasn't forced humor. It was great one-liners. So really, that's the type of episode they should always do, right around that 8.5 mark, or even maybe a 9. If they keep it like that, the whole season would be markedly better. But they've been a little sporadic, so I'm hoping that maybe the second half of the season it's more like this. I think, because it just didn't flow on some of the shows. It just didn't.
I think the average score for this season, Gray, is probably going to be lower because it's been up and down. So it might. I wouldn't be surprised if. I don't think the season so far. We're only halfway through it. I don't know if it'll get any more than an average of 7 out of 10 at the very best, because there's been too many episodes to pull it down. I hope I'm wrong. The back half of the season is brilliant, but I was close to Grey. I gave it an 8 out of 10, so close enough. I just note that it was very funny, which is a great improvement, because this is a comedy at the end of the day. And the sooner that both of us, especially Gray, a while ago accepted it was a comedy, he started enjoying it more, and so did I. And you just put it to the side. You know, it's Star Trek, but don't take it seriously. It is amusing. The one-liners are so important. Shax and Tiana give the best one-liners, so I'm glad they were back to use them more and more. So Tiana's my favourite character by a country mile. So I'm glad she is getting pissed before surgery. It's the way to do it. Keep those hands steady. And roll on next episode, mate. We just hope it's as good as this one. But, yeah, of course, I won't tell you to subscribe to this channel. I would rather you just like it if you liked it, and thumbs down if you don't like it. That's fine. But we'd actually prefer comments below on any specials you want us to do in Star Trek, because we will have a bit of time to kill after this finishes, so get ideas in. Doesn't matter if it's random. If it sounds decent, we'll consider it. But yeah, thanks a lot for that one, guys, for tuning in. Thank you again, Gray. Until next week, Gray, do your thing, my man.
Live long and prosper, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.